point was that you were sounding like a neocon, and he's upset with anybody who wants us to get too involved in Israel's conflict because he feels it endangers American children.
Okay, the idea that, number one, the idea that I want the United States to be directly involved in Israel's conflict is not true.
No, I know that, Ben.
I've been urging Israel to get off of American aid for literally as long as I have been active in politics.
But I'm making clear what his point was.
But my point is that that's not his point. And again, none of this.
So we disagree.
We disagree on the interpretation of what Tucker has been doing for the past 2 years, and it's very difficult for me to believe that Tucker is merely anti-Israel when, for example, today in his newsletter. I mean, I can directly quote it if you'd like. In his newsletter today, he claimed that Zoran Mamdani is not anti-Semitic. Here's what Tucker Carlson wrote in his newsletter today, or what his newsletter says under his name. He said, "Is the incoming mayor a fan of Israel? Does he want America to fight its wars? Not particularly. But a Jew hater? That's a different conversation. We've never seen anything to suggest he falls into that ugly camp. If we're talking about fighting the left, defending Zoran Mamdani, who literally said that he has no opinion whether Hamas should disarm, who posed alongside the 1993 World Trade Center unindicted co-conspirator, who would not disarm, globalize the Intifada, who suggested that whenever there is a New York Police Department boot on somebody's neck, it's an IDF lacing the strings, to suggest that that's not anti-Semitic in any way? No way."
Okay.
So what I want to say about Mamdani is it makes a lot of sense to me why Jews, not just in New York City, are screaming at him, yelling at him, condemning him, talking about how he's going to be so dangerous for the Jews. The thing about the Mamdani situation, which it's not him. The problem is not Zoran Mamdani. He's a symptom of the problem. But you can't kill off cancer without going to the source. Zoran Mamdani could get kicked out of office and replaced by somebody else. Maybe the person is not a radical Muslim like himself. But they would be cancerous in other ways and possibly towards Jews too. So then you have Mamdani part 2. I think it's awkward when we see these pictures of him right now wearing like a kippah. He's wishing the Jewish community, for them to have a good holiday season. He'll say Shabbat Shalom and all this stuff. Excuse me. I think it's part of a political act. I think he did it to get his votes. I don't think he really gives a shit about the safety of the Jewish community. And, I'll give Trump the credit. When he came into office, he immediately started affecting change in the Middle East for what is going on here. And the real test is going to be what happens when the transfer of power happens to Mamdani, because I don't think that's his top priority.